This has been a rough week for Microsoft. They have on their main campus in Redmond, Washington right now, a group of employees that have gathered together, declared themselves an Intifada, basically the Arabic word for uprising, usually associated with attacking Jews. That's kind of the way it's commonly used right now. But they've declared themselves an Intifada, and they are demanding Microsoft cut all ties with Israel completely, like close down the Israeli offices, stop doing business with any person, company, or government agency in Israel, cut off all licenses to Israel. So if anyone's purchased Windows or Microsoft 365 or anything, they must be denied further access to those services. Just massive cutoffs. And they also want Microsoft to cease working with anyone who works with Israel as well. I mean, they're asking for a lot. They're asking for some crazy stuff, and they're telling everybody. They're telling the executives at Microsoft that they're going to escalate regularly their activities until Microsoft gives in to those demands. And those activities have already gotten crazy. So it all started on this last Tuesday. It all kicked off on Tuesday with an event on Microsoft main campus. Let me see if I've got this here. On August 19th. So they pulled together a fairly small event, enough people to gain some traction and get people noticed, but it wasn't like a mass thing. And they declared that they were going to occupy a portion of Microsoft main campus, right? And they were going to take over this part of campus. And the part of campus they were taking over was called the East little courtyard area, and it is right next to the buildings where people are doing development and have done development on Windows and Office and Windows Media and all sorts of things over the years. So this is right in the heart of Microsoft. And that event petered out, right? That August 19th event on Tuesday just went nowhere. Two police officers showed up, informed the Intifada that if they remained, that they would be declared trespassing and that they might be subject to arrest. They weren't even like flat out threatened. They were just told they would be subject to arrest. They might be, right? Should Microsoft want it. The Intifada said, fine, then we're going home. And they walked off, right? So boom, gone. It lasted a total of about 4.5 hours, something like that. Then on August 20th, they held a crazy event. I mean, they went nuts. Same exact place, right? It was at they called it where is it? The Liberated Zone, and also it was the Palestinian Children's Martyrs Pavilion or something like that. They just started renaming this little Microsoft main campus East courtyard. And that one got bigger. But what really got crazy was they started crazily vandalizing Microsoft property. So they really ratcheted up a notch. They had just tons of red paint for fake blood. They made up a bunch of dead bodies, like fake dead bodies, to lay around the place with blood, and they just made a mess, like a huge mess. But what really got nuts, do I have a picture of it here for those of you watching the video version? I don't have a picture of any of that here, but they went around to the a farmer's market. Oh yeah, there they go. There we go. There was a farmer's market taking place. You can see the tents in the background for those of you watching the video version. And they started stealing stuff from the farmer's market vendors, right? So the people there with their organic tomatoes and whatnot, this Intifada went up to them and started stealing their tents and their tables and their chairs and their food and all sorts of stuff so that they could build barricades to try and hold this courtyard area, right? So they vandalized and ransacked a farmer's market. Okay, so they vandalized the corporate property. They vandalized and stole stuff from a farmer's market. Then they started screaming things at the people passing by, but not political things like rah rah, change this policy or something like that. They started screaming slurs against Jews, not Israelis, not Zionists, specifically against Jews, right? And a lot of swearing, a lot of screaming at people, and Microsoft security called the Redmond Police Department. The Redmond Police Department showed up. Do I have their thing here? They showed up and they began arresting people. I don't have it here. But they arrested 18 people. And 18 of them went to jail. I think they all got immediately out, and they were very, very angry. So they held another event the next day, and it took an even weirder turn. So what they did this third day, so on Thursday, is instead of doing an event on Microsoft main campus, which got them in a lot of trouble the first 2 days, right? Clearly, Microsoft did not want them there. So what they did is they went to let me see if I can show you the map here. They went to the Redmond Technology Stop, which is literally a bus station and park and ride right across the street from Microsoft main campus, and just like 1 block away from where they held the other event. So it's right in the same spot, right? Surrounded by Microsoft buildings and right on the side of the freeway. And they set up shop there, and nobody got arrested as far as I can tell. They managed to avoid vandalizing anything. But boy, howdy, did they go nuts otherwise. They literally started chanting in Arabic, "Go away, Jews," or "Jews get out." Let me see if I've got that here. I had to pull up translations for all of this. I've got a link to the video in the article, which you can get to. Again, all this is up at lunduke.com, and just go check out the where the articles are at on Substack or Locals. Are free for everyone, and you can get the links to those articles where all these links are at. But I was watching the video of it, and they had a guy get up and teach the whole crowd how to chant in Arabic, "Go away, Jews." This is not right. So they're not at this point, they're not making some sort of political statement about another country. They're specifically talking about Jews. And they really ratcheted it up a notch, because they weren't just doing that. They were also showing the symbolism of the bloody red hand. And for those of you who don't know, the Bloody Red Hand is about this event that occurred. Was this back in 2000? I believe it was, the year 2000. So there was a Palestinian lynch mob that lynched two Jews back in the year 2000, right? These 2 Jews were driving down the road. They took a wrong turn, and it went badly for them because this Palestinian lynch mob lynched them. Now, it wasn't just a lynching. They're dead. They were murdered. Their eyes were gouged out with the bare hand. That Palestinians gouged them out with their bare hands, and they were disemboweled. Their stomachs were cut open, their bowels were yanked out, and then this one Palestinian guy, he covers his hands in their bowel blood and shows everyone, "Yay, look what I did to the Jews and murdered them." And the crowd just starts cheering, "Yay, you murdered them and disemboweled them," right? So that bloody red hand became a symbol of murder and disembowel the Jews. That was from that point and every moment forward over in the Palestinian areas and in Gaza particularly. That's what that symbol means. It means nothing else, right? That's what it means there. And so they're using that symbols now for this Microsoft worker intifada. So they're saying, "Yay, disembowel the Jews, Jews get out." And if Microsoft doesn't give in to our demands and apparently get rid of all their Jews, that they're going to continue to escalate. So it's not great. It's not great. Now, we haven't heard anything from this group since Thursday night. Thursday night was the last time we've heard from them. As I'm recording this, it's now Sunday. And Microsoft has a real problem because they have to take care of this, right? They need to handle this. I mean, obviously, the obvious course of action is everyone related to this event and this organization in any way must be fired. I mean, must be. Washington State is an at-will employment state, which is where Microsoft is. So Microsoft doesn't even have to declare a reason to fire someone. They can just say, we want to fire you, so we are effective immediately. They can just do that. That's how it works there. There's no contract they have to fulfill. Microsoft does not have to give any severance pay, not at all. It's at-will employment. However, I think Microsoft should. I think Microsoft should give reason, is what I'm saying. I feel like Microsoft needs to make a statement and say, these people are being fired because they're awful Jew-hating bastards. And they need to, and here's their names, and here's the people we're firing, and here's why. And I think Microsoft should do that. I think anything short of that is a catastrophic moral failure on their part. And I mean that flat out. Now, at this point, I'm not willing to go out and declare Microsoft is evil for doing this. I've declared Microsoft is evil for plenty of things, but I'm not ready to go out and say Microsoft's done something wrong here yet, because Microsoft is notoriously slow-moving about this sort of thing. There have been multiple events in the past where they've had employees do or say something that was ridiculous. And it always takes them a couple of days to decide on a solution, run it by multiple HR people, run it by their lawyers, come up with a statement, run it by their lawyers again, and then eventually they take action. They always go a little slow. That's fine. I'm fine with them going slow. Standard Microsoft speed is fine here. But what that means is really sometime this coming week, Microsoft needs to make a statement saying those individuals involved in this worker intifada, anyone involved, anyone at the events, supporting them, anyone enacting any of the vandalism, anyone taking part in the Jews get out, go away Jews chants, all of them fired. Here's their names. Here's why we fired them. Because this sort of evil is not tolerated. Because, I mean, realistically, and this isn't just about should they not be allowed to say this about Jews. They shouldn't be allowed as corporate employees to say this about any group. If this group got together and started shouting, "Go away, Christians," and then here's a symbol of "I want to murder and disembowel all Christians," fired. Instantly fired. I mean, if I'm the CEO, they're fired on the spot. I do a televised press conference where I show everyone their pictures and their names, and I see if I can file charges against them. Black people, white people, men, women. I don't care. I don't care what the religion is. I don't care what the ethnicity is. I don't care what the gender is. You don't do that. You don't do this sort of thing. You don't start chanting, "Go away, X," and then here's a symbol of disemboweling you as a representative of that corporation. You just don't do that. It's never allowed. Not ever. And so Microsoft has to take a firm stance on this. Otherwise, it's just going to get out of control. It just is. So they need to come out this week, sometime in the next couple of days, with a very, very firm, undeniable statement that this sort of vile, evil behavior will never be allowed within their company. They need to get rid of the people, and they need to make a very big statement about it. I don't see another way to solve the Intifada problem that they're facing right now. I don't see another way around it. The longer that Microsoft waits to do it, the more this sort of thing spreads. So this group, this worker intifada, is somewhat related to another group that's a no tech for apartheid group, is what they kind of call themselves. And they don't really mean actual apartheid. They mean no tech for Jews and no tech for Israelis in Israel. They basically are there to protest anything where Amazon or Google or any other corporation or Microsoft has ties to not just Israel, but Jewish organizations that seem too Jewy, right? And so we're already catching wind of small groups in other companies that are looking to take part in this. So the longer Microsoft waits to do it, the more emboldened these sorts of vile, evil, just dredges of humanity are going to be emboldened to do more evil stuff like this. So they've got to take a firm stand. They've got to. They should lead right out front and say, this is bad. This is evil. We're going to stop this right now. And that's it. That's the end of it. And they should make that firm stance. So hopefully we can nip this in the bud before it spreads to a whole bunch of other companies in the weeks ahead. It's just ridiculous. So what happens if Microsoft doesn't? Honestly, if we get to the end of this next week and Microsoft hasn't fired everyone involved in any supportive way of this intifada, then it's time to really start calling out the entire Microsoft executive line, and this is going to get escalated up to a more legal level. I think at that point, Microsoft employees, the vast number of Jewish Microsoft employees and honestly Christian employees as well, have a very legitimate gripe with their corporation for not protecting them. And Microsoft is going to be under severe legal liability here. If this gets to, say, next Friday and Microsoft has done nothing to protect the Jewish employees at Microsoft, who, to be clear, this group is promoting and advocating for the murder and disembowel of Jews while chanting in Arabic, "Go away, Jews." Do you really feel comfortable working with someone who's showing imagery of disemboweling you while chanting, "You get out"? No, of course not. That's not exactly a safe work environment. I'm pretty confident there's a number of different laws that are being broken there. So Microsoft really has to get on top of it. And if they don't, they are in a world of hurt. A world of hurt. Oh my word, it's going to be off the charts. And here's another thing. I could not imagine this sort of absolutely vile behavior being tolerated as long as it has already been tolerated under the CEO-ship of Steve Ballmer. You know what I'm talking about. There is no way, if this group had come up and started doing this, not just against Jews, but anybody, if they'd have been chanting, "Go away, Christians," and showing pictures of advocating for the disemboweling of Christians, Ballmer wouldn't have put up with that. He'd have been down there himself bouncing those people out of that public square. You know he would have. But under Satya Nadella, it's just been quiet. I'm not going to lie. I find it disheartening and frustrating. And disappointing. And I don't even have high expectations from Microsoft. My expectations from Microsoft are low at this point. Very low. And they're already going way lower than that. But that said, if in the next few days they do take decisive action, I will be happy to say, okay, Microsoft handled it well. I wish they would have done it quicker, but you know what? They did it. They just were slow about it. I'd be happy to say that. And so I'm waiting I'm going to wait and see how it goes. I have reached out to Satya Nadella's directly via email and on X. I've reached out to the PR team at Microsoft, multiple PR teams at Microsoft. I've reached out to multiple divisions at Microsoft. I've reached out to the company representing Microsoft in PR. I've heard nothing. Absolutely nothing. So I'm waiting to hear more. I need more verification. I need more details about what they're going to be doing. But hopefully we'll find that out in the coming days ahead. I've also reached out to this group, this Microsoft Worker Intifada group. I did get one email response from them, but then it was very clear that they quickly realized who I was and cut off all communication. I did not get any information from them. I did not get any details from them about what they were planning. I asked a number of questions, like what are you planning to do next? Who are you working with? Have you I asked them if they had spoken to Microsoft executives, if there had been a dialogue between the executive team and their Intifada group. I asked them a series of questions that were very standard journalism-y questions, right? I wasn't, it wasn't an abrasive sort of attack set of questions. There weren't any gotcha questions. I was literally saying flat out things like, what message do you want out there? Right? Like, what do you want to be telling people? Because as I told them, and I'm just telling you right now, I told them I'll publish whatever comment you want to make, whatever your message is, I'll publish it in full, right? Because I'll present my opinion to it, but I'm also here to present the facts as they really are. So whatever comment you want to make, go ahead and make it, and I will publish it in full without editing it at all. And no, they did not like that. No go. They cut that communication off right there, and I haven't heard from them since. Now, what's been interesting is they've had no events over the weekend. None at all. They also didn't have any events on Friday. I was surprised at that. So we'll see what happens Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll see as the week hits, we'll see what happens. My guess is at this point, the people probably haven't been fired yet. As soon as there were arrests made, those 18 arrests on Wednesday, they made press releases about how Microsoft and the violent blah, blah, blah Redmond Police Department destroyed their rights as someone or other, and they arrested them violently, and it was awful, and they made a big deal about it, right? They tried to get sympathy points. They tried to play the victim card by saying that they'd been arrested. But we haven't heard that about anyone getting fired yet. Now, I did hear that there might be one person, not an organizer, but a one tangentially involved person that might have gotten fired this last Wednesday, but I have not confirmed that yet. I just heard that from one source, and they weren't even sure. The individual just simply stopped coming into work, and everyone is uncertain what happened with that person. Like they're still alive because they were going to these events. They just weren't showing up to work. So I don't know what's happening there. But I'm going to keep on top of it, and I'll keep reporting on it, because it has a tremendous impact on not just all the people working at Microsoft, but the entirety of the tech industry, because it all integrates with each other. So anyway, that's what's happening right now. We'll see how Microsoft actually chooses to solve this little intifada problem of theirs in the days ahead. Thank you to all the subscribers over at Lunduke.com. If you're watching the video version, it means that you're an amazing subscriber to the Lunduke Journal. If you're listening to the audio podcast version and would like the video version, go head on over to Lunduke.com and click on one of the many different links there: Locals, X, Patreon, YouTube, Substack, or Itch, where you can subscribe, support the work of the Lunduke Journal, and of course, get all the fancy schmancy videos in the process. And with that, Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, nerds and nerdettes across the inner tubes, I do declare, end broadcast.